Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Today, we have a very special guest, a co-host of a short, for short. He will be hopefully joining us every Saturday so that we can learn what's going on with him. But before we get started, I wanted y'all to know who he was. So, whatever he wants to explain, I want you to go ahead and tell the people who you are and what you represent. And then we'll get to the questions.
I am TJ Singh. My real name is Sahib Jeet.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
My headphones stopped working. Welcome to my life. So I'm TJ. I'm a therapist. I am a depth-oriented therapist, means I go to the deep ends of the deepest places people don't like to share. I sit in uncomfortable truths and I help people face uncomfortable truths. And so that's who I am. I'm Indian American. I am an immigrant that became an American citizen. And I'm someone that lives in two different worlds and been able to see so many different things because of it.
You know, being Indian, I figure you had to have went through a lot. So what I want to know is, how do you incorporate your heritage with what you've learned with American history and world history or psychology? How do you incorporate that in your
So
life?
one of my biggest pieces is that when I came to this country, I was 5 years old. You're a 5-year-old who is taken from your homeland without an understanding of why you're doing it. All I knew and all I remember is that my dad was in America and then we were going to go there. I had no idea if we were going to come back to India. I was starting to build an identity in India. I'm a 5-year-old being social, learning stuff. And next minute I know, I'm in a whole different place where nobody looks like me. I went from a bunch of brown people to a bunch of white people, some Mexicans, Hispanics. Like, Oakland was where I settled. And I became an outsider. And that really reshaped how I saw things, because I was no longer seeing people that looked like me. I was the only Indian I often knew often the time. And that gave me a different perspective of being on the outsider, seeing different groups of friends, different people, different ways they interact, different ways they talk to each other, different ways they talk about themselves. It really made me look at things in a different way. Like when you're an outsider, it's like I'm seeing an ocean by standing at the shore. And I got to see the different waves, how they move, how they go. And over time, I wanted to understand it better, because I felt literally, like I metaphorically felt like an alien. And what does an alien want to do? Study humans. And I became a therapist to understand people, but also to help people, because I've been into same struggles. I know what it feels like to be alone, what it like to hold guilt and shame, to have complex trauma, to have no friends, to not know how to be in this world. And now I'm able to really figure that out for myself, but also give back. It's like the hero's journey. Eventually, after your trials and tribulations, you get the elixir, the thing that is the goal of the journey, and you give it back to the people. And so I've been able to find my own elixirs, and now I'm giving it back through therapy work, one person at a time.
How do you contribute your life? Like, how do you progress your life challenges when you are giving suggestions and giving advice to your clients? Like, how do you grow from their lives so that you can have a flexible, healthy lifestyle yourself?
Here's the biggest thing: practice what you preach. I hate that phrase, but it's so true. if I'm going to say something to you, if I'm going to say, hey, you need to practice this skill, hey, this is going to really help you, I have to use it myself. I tell people, hey, you got to take care of yourself. You're working too much. You need to be able to spend time really taking care of yourself or giving yourself self-compassion. Because the first thing they're going to ask is, TJ, do you do that? And I want to be able to say, yeah, I do that. That happened today. I was working with this individual who's having issues in his relationship. And he's like, TJ, it's so hard to be able to prioritize my relationship. Like, I'm working so much. Do you prioritize your relationship? And I was able to say, yeah. And he's like, what do you mean? Well, I am a workaholic. I know that. But I also want to make time for my partner. I also want to make time for the people I love, because prioritizing tells the others, hey, I care enough about you that you're in my mind and I want to spend my time with you. That's why I tell people, it's like, you have to practice what you preach. And for me, this is the biggest thing I tell people. Every client impacts me in some sort of way, whether it's to get better at a skill, better at communication, better at working with a different population. I am getting something. My biggest failures are some of the best ways I've learned to improve. Whether it's a client that I didn't connect with, whether it was an issue I didn't really understand, it made me look at myself and go, what do I need to get better at? And when I do that, it really helps me work on myself, my self-care. One reason I am really good in communication with my partner is because I had to practice it. Like, if I'm going to be a couples therapist, I better know what I'm talking about. And I better be practicing those things. And that's what I do. What I bring into therapy is because I bring it into my own personal life. And
How
that's
how do you face uncomfortability? And then we'll go to the questions.
So this is a reason why I wanted to talk about facing uncomfortability. Uncomfortability sucks. It's hard to sit in something uncomfortable, something that makes you uneasy, something that makes you feel awkward, weird, strange. It is difficult to face something like that. And this topic came to me because of clients I have who are resistant to facing their own uncomfortable emotions, situations, people in their life. And I wanted to bring that today to talk about, hey, we all have to face uncomfortability. It's a part of life. It's a part of growth. If we run away from what scares us, then we never grow. Conflict, it's not like, there are healthy forms of conflict, how we discuss, because what do we take from them? What do we acknowledge about them? And what does that say about how we act in conflicts? It's not about conflict. It's about resolution. How do you resolve a conflict where you both parties are feeling understood and feel heard and are able to walk away going, at least I feel better about how it went. And even if the issue isn't resolved, the emotions are. So facing uncomfortability is around sitting with something and saying, even though I'm scared, even though I don't want to do this, I'm still going to do it. That's courage. To be courageous is to accept that you're scared of facing something, that you're scared of not knowing what's going to happen if you face this person or this situation, and still doing it. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, it does. It definitely do. You know, it feels like you said, it feels really good when two people resolve a conflict. Like you said, even if a conflict don't get resolved, the situation get resolved. Both of their speculations are resolved. Sometimes I feel like there's another avenue for resolving conflict, going around it instead of not facing it, going around the actual event and skipping something. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
That is so common in people. It's crazy. It's like, okay, I'm going to just skirt around it. Maybe that way I can avoid it and make it less scary or less uncomfortable. No, you're still avoiding. Avoiding isn't going to get you to where you want to go. You want to face those anxieties. You want to face and change and grow. You got to face uncomfortability. And uncomfortability is uncomfortable emotions, situations where you have to stand up and say, no, and admit your part you played. Facing uncomfortability is also holding accountability. I'm going to be the bigger person. Look, I hate being the bigger person. I hear you. It sucks being the bigger person. You don't want to admit. We all have those egos. We're like, I don't want to say I did something bad. They're gonna have to. It's not all my fault. No, but you did play a part. It's not saying that you're taking the responsibility for everything. It's saying you're taking responsibility for your part, my actions. That's what matters. It's easier to avoid it, to go the other way, to go underneath it, to go over it. No, you got to go through it. It's going to suck, but you will get to the other side. But you're first going to have to deal with the sucky part. It's
Name a situation where you know, like how you felt when you felt uncomfortable, like,
I can give
and
you
try
like,
to build through it.
I will give you a situation that happened yesterday. I am someone who, I hate to say this, I like to, like, I admit it, I have an ego. I like to be right, but who doesn't like to be right? Because being right makes us feel good. And me and my partner got into kind of a small disagreement around just her spending time with her friends because her friends are in town. And I was feeling my own insecurities around friend groups and stuff, just from past baggage of past relationships. And she said something to me around like, this is coming from your own insecurities. Like, I've been checking in on you. I'm making sure, but you're acting like I've not done anything. And I really had to step back because she was right. My insecurities were blinding me to what was going on. And as much as I didn't want to admit that, no, I didn't say that. No, I didn't do that. I had to say the thing that every guy hates to say to their partner. Crap. Okay. You're right. I am doing that. And I because I had to, the moment she said it, I shut up and I was like, crap. Yeah, I see it. I am doing that. You're right. Damn it. You're right. Okay. And so I had to accept and sit with that. But you know what happened right after that was done? She felt heard and seen. I took accountability for my part, and the conflict resolved. And we got to enjoy each other's company, and I got to spend time with her and her friends. That's more worth it to me than being right at a certain point. What's more important to you? Being right or resolving the issue? No hill is worth dying on, people.
Well said, TJ. So when you talk about facing uncomfortability, what exactly do you mean? Actually, I'm saying what we already talked about, but I'm just reading from the script. How do you define discomfort, and do you think it looks different depending on the person? That's a good question. Like I told you.
Uncomfortability is subjective. What's uncomfortable for me may not be uncomfortable for you. If, let's say, I have to face a boss that I got in trouble with because I forgot to do something, I don't know what the boss is going to say. I'm scared. Oh my God, what is he going to say? Am I going to get fired? All these negative thoughts, all these worries start coming to your brain. That's, for me, easy. My brain just naturally goes to negative thoughts. It happens to a lot of people. For someone else, they're like, whatever, this is not uncomfortable for me. Everybody faces uncomfortability differently. We all are experiencing our own experience of reality, of life, of everything. Everybody has something to share, but also a different view on things. So what's uncomfortable for me may not be uncomfortable for you, may not be uncomfortable with the other person. It's still, though, their uncomfortability. If someone tells me, TJ, that's uncomfortable for me, and I'm like, well, it's not uncomfortable for me, that's great for you. But it's uncomfortable for me. And you have to respect that. Maybe it's, for them, it's talking to their mom about something really deep and hard. Maybe it's like going on a walk. It can be uncomfortable for people that live inside or are introverted, who don't like going outside. That's uncomfortable. Everybody's level of uncomfortability is different. And we just have to accept we live in a society with a lot of different uncomfortability levels. And it's okay to acknowledge somebody's areas of uncomfortability are different. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, it does. Everybody has a degree of uncomfortability. Like, I have I'll acknowledge that I have mental health, and one of my stuff that I broke out of was having agoraphobia, being afraid of people. Yeah, that's what they diagnosed me with. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know I was like that. Now it's like it's like being something that you don't want to be. Do you
Mhm.
get what I'm saying? Like I have a fear of people, yet I want to be and seek that type of companionship, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's hard when you're that inner conflict of a fear of people and also wanting to connect to people. It's like a contradiction inside yourself. How do you deal with this feeling of people make me uncomfortable, but I also want good relationships? You have to be able to really sit with yourself and look at these two sides. Where does that fear of uncomfortability around people come from? And what makes you really want to seek out that relationship? What's more important to you? Where do you want the scales to more focus on? Can you come to a truce with these two sides of you? Can you look at these sides and say, hey, I acknowledge I'm scared and I still want this though? It's the acknowledgement by naming something and accepting it's real. You're giving yourself power to break away from it. Like, let me ask you this. When you were going through, and you don't have to share what you don't want to, when you were going through that time of agoraphobia, what was the scariest part to face?
Well, it got triggered one day. It always been like that, but the real trigger is when I was with my son in Hawaii, and we were walking towards the PX, and there was a car that almost hit him,
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, I can't control what people do, so it kind of made me feel some type of way, and I told the doctor, and the doctor was like, well, it sounds to me like you have a fear of people, but she didn't say it in that way. She just said agoraphobia, a fancy word for the term. And I accepted it, but I forced myself to become an omnivert instead of an
Mm,
introvert, if that makes any sense. I'm more introvert than omnivert, but I can socialize, if that,
mhm.
yeah.
Let me ask you this because I want to know more.
Yeah, go
When
ahead.
you look at that fear of people, right? That fear comes from some place, something, experiences, whatever. What's scary about people for you?
What's not?
That's true too. People can be scary, and people can also be some of the nicest things, some of the caring, compassionate people you ever met. But here's the thing: when you look at that fear of people, people is all. That's an absolute word. Fear of people. Everybody you are going to meet is a people. So, are you afraid of all people or certain
No.
types of people?
Just certain types that how one thing I will say about Biden, he invented the 6 feet space.
Mm-hmm.
When if someone gets 4 feet in your space,
Mm-hmm.
or verbally over the phone, or in your mental presence to attack your mental well-being, then you say to yourself, it's it's out of your control, so you try to navigate it the best way you can.
That makes sense. You're trying to navigate, trying to live in a world where there can be scary types of people. Here's the thing, though. What does that fear do for you, though? Why is that fear there?
Um, to be quite honest, I I don't. It's like onion layers,
Yeah.
layers of stuff. I would go and spill it with you. I
No, you're
would. I would. We can do this off camera. I would. But I I can't. But I'll tell you this. What I will say is that of mental abuse, of physical abuse, of sexual trauma, mental trauma, and emotional trauma, whoever orchestrated this whole thing knew my history and knew that that would keep me kind of suppressed. You see what I'm
And that's
saying?
the thing. No, I hear you. And that's the thing. Those experiences reshape how we see the world. Humans have three core beliefs: what I believe about myself, what I believe about others, and what I believe about the world. If you have had bad experiences with yourself and you hold a lot of shame, it creates dissociation. You become dissociated. You live in your head instead of your body. You don't want to be present. Being present was scary. It hurt you. So you're going to live in your head. Belief about others. Well, if your experiences with your caregivers or people around you were negative, and that was a consistent thing, you create disconnection. People are scary. You don't want to be around them. You want to isolate yourself. You live in this survival mentality of these others are here to harm me and I need to keep myself safe. That fear is not a bad thing. It's protective. It's there to protect you from things that can harm you. And right now, it sounds like it was other people. Makes sense to me. That's why I tell people, fear is not bad. I'm not telling you to be fearful of uncomfortability. I'm saying try to understand it. Be curious about where it comes from to be able to face it. Why is it so scary? What is it about these experiences that make me scared? And what do I need? What does my body need? What my heart needs? What does my soul need to be able to overcome and really go through this fear to get to the other side? And oftentimes, you always had enough. You've always been enough to face that fear. But there's a part of you that doesn't believe that because that's your messages around the world. People in your life telling you, you can't do something, you can't be this, you can't do that. I'm going to be the first therapist to tell you, you can do whatever you want at the end of the day. It's your life. It's your story. You have the pen to the narrative, but you've been told you don't, that we have it. This person has it. Nope. You've always had it. Since you were born, you've been enough to face anything in life. Don't be afraid. That's what I would like to add to that.
That threw me up. Okay, so thank you. That's my response. Thank you. I feel, to be in all honesty, I feel like an alien, kind of similar to how you felt sometimes or feel sometimes. It's like my vibe is so truthful that, when the wrong people that I come around can't accept that, I kind of like can figure out stuff typical than, like, for example, you have two scenarios. You have two women, one man. A man tell two women the same thing, the same story, yet one woman falls for it and one woman doesn't. The woman that doesn't, she moves on. 5 years later, there's a woman missing. The woman that actually listened to the guy that, so tried to sell the other girl the story, ended up dying because she
Oh my
didn't. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's like this idea of like, you really have to listen and be aware of the people talking to you. You don't know people. Everybody wears masks. But when you know that everybody wears masks, you also say, that's why I tell people, I only give 50% of my trust. You have to earn the rest by showing me you're worthy of more than 50%. That's kind of what I would say. So, girl, I hear you. And just like kind of tailoring it back to the idea of facing uncomfortability, that's what I say. It's, yes, fear is normal. Fear is typical. When you face uncomfortability, it's about checking in with yourself and saying, why does this matter to me? Why is it important to face this? Why can't I skirt around it? Why can't I go over here or go underneath or go over? Why do I have to go through it? And once you realize, because by sitting and facing comfortability, you gain new perspectives. You start to realize and break old beliefs. Like things can work out. A lot of my clients, like I had a client who was afraid to tell his parents that he lost his job. He kept it secret for years. He wouldn't tell them. His partner wanted him to tell his parents, but he was so afraid of the shame, of disappointing, of worry. He kept it a secret. And I asked him, what scares you about it? He goes, well, I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know how they'll feel. Maybe my dad might have a heart attack if he gets so disappointed. Like, I'm worried about my dad getting into like all these things. All of these what if scenarios started popping through his brains. So he avoided it. And the thing is, his partner had to hold the burden of all the work around it because he was not telling his parents, he was not getting support, he was isolating himself. And guess what? When we finally got to a point where he did tell his parents that he lost his job years ago, he comes back to me and goes, so how was it? Oh, it wasn't that bad. You mean thing that you were avoiding for years, and you come back and tell me it's not that bad. Yeah. Yeah. And so all those scenarios, all those what if scenarios your brain was telling you was going to happen, your dad having a heart attack, you're going through this, you're this, never happened, did it? No. Yeah, that tends to be the case. Oftentimes our brains live in this polarized worst case, best case, worst case, best case. Life often is more in the middle. It ain't going to be the greatest news, but it ain't going to be the worst news either. It's oftentimes not that bad. That's what I tell people. You'll learn that you can face things, but you first got to face things. So
Based
learn.
on you having strategy and being optimistic about things, how do you intertwine, the patterns of what you see? You probably interviewed or actually coached or, you know,
Mhm.
and however you say it, a session. You had a session with someone. How do you see the patterns of uncomfortability, and how do you tell me a success story, a success story?
So I used to offer low cost therapy. I would offer therapy for like $15. Like I wanted to really help people. Like that was my goal. However, a lot of people loved it, but I also had bills to pay, so I couldn't keep it going. I started working with this one client who was dealing with perfectionism. She also went through a lot in their experience of like pushed her to go to therapy. And I worked with her nonstop for months and months and months. Her facing her like traumas coming to this country, or being raised with a single mom and not having a dad. She wanted to be perfect because she felt like she wasn't good enough. You can start seeing signs of this, especially if you've been doing core beliefs, core wound work easily, from the way they act, things they say, the things they behave. Like, think about this. If your foot is like, like a left foot, right foot is towards the door instead of towards the therapist, it
Yeah.
tells me your body wants you to leave. Like it doesn't want to be in the room. It's those micro body expressions that tell me everything. So as I try to get her to talk about being perfect, I noticed her body kind of getting twitching, getting upset. I then told her, hey, we're going to slow down. What are you feeling in your body right now? Just tell me. She's like, I'm feeling a heaviness. When you think about, making a mistake, when you think about writing an email and having like grammar issues, my brain just starts to shake. Like, no, that's bad. And I get this critical voice in me that tells me I'm messing up. I'm not doing good enough and I need to fix this. So I overview it. And like, guess what? What's wrong with making mistakes? Is perfection real? Can you be perfect in this world? It's like, what do you mean? Well, think about it. Who creates perfection? Who tells you what is perfect or not perfect? Isn't perfection subjective? Isn't it based on who decides what perfection is? Also, isn't then technically perfectionism a social construct? Isn't the idea of being perfect created by society? And society can be a bunch of idiots. You really want to listen to a bunch of idiots tell you what is perfect and what is not perfect? Because what's perfect for me may not be perfect for the next person. So can you ever truly be perfect? And then she had to really sit with that and be like, well, when you say it like that, TJ, I guess you can't. What? Wait, what? You can't. Exactly. You can't be perfect. Humans are naturally imperfect. And that's the beauty, because imperfection lets us grow. We keep wanting to get better, geek more, grow as people. If we're perfect, what's the point of growing? Alligators and crocodiles, apex predators, haven't changed for millions and millions of years. But because they're so perfectly niche in their environment, if one big change comes, they're all gone. Because perfection doesn't let you adapt. When you're perfect, what do you need to adapt to? If you're perfect, what do you need to change? If you're perfect, why do you need to grow? Be imperfect, make mistakes, learn from failures. And as we kept working through that, having her sit, and I told her, hey, today, I want you to write an email and allow yourself to make 2 to 3 different grammar errors, and you're not allowed to correct it. He came back was that was the toughest ever. I kept going, what is my supervisor going to say? What is this person going to say? Like, I was so worried. And what happened? Nothing. They said, hey, thank you for the email. And they never talked about it again. What did your brain tell you was going to happen? They were going to yell at me and tell me, I might get fired. Did that happen? No. So what does that tell you? That imperfection, it's okay. But that's still so hard, TJ. Yeah, until we kept working, kept giving her different challenges, because I'm introducing contradictions to her core belief that if I'm perfect, I'm enough. You introduce contradictions to break a core belief. You find ways, tiny little actions that really test that belief. Okay, you need to be perfect because that core belief tells you if you're not, something bad's going to happen. Well, you wrote that email and nothing bad happened. How does that make sense? It really makes you re-look at your perspectives and that lens. And eventually, she got to, and honestly, I might cry because I was so proud of her for this. She was able to not, like, she had to do resumes and stuff, and she was so adamant of like crazy, but she's like, TJ, I just didn't care. I was like, you know what? If I get a job, I get it. If it's perfect, I'll get it. I'll be fine. I don't need to be perfect. What did you just say? Yeah, I don't need to. I told myself I don't need to be perfect. And this was months and months of therapy. I'm not saying this was in like 2-3 sessions. She got to a point to let go of that perfectionism because she kept introducing contradictions, challenging that belief, sitting in that uncomfortability of, I'm not perfect right now. Is that okay? It was okay. And that kept teaching her consistency and repetition will get you everywhere. That's how you grow. Does that kind of make
Well
sense?
said. Yeah, that is how you grow. And any new strategies or theories that you have, like you personally has come up with, which is contradictions. That's number one. I listen. What are other strategies that they're developing or teaching you guys with trainings about how to accept discomfort in the not only discomfort with your clients, but discomfort within the workplace, discomfort within life?
So it's funny. I like to make up my own interventions. I use a lot of like the modalities I use, but I also create my own. My favorite one right now is the waiting game. I give a lot of vague questions. The reason I give vague question is if I tell you exactly what I'm looking for as an answer, that's what you're going to give me. I don't want you to give me what you think I want. I want to know what your brain wants to give me. So I'll ask you a vague question and let your brain figure out what I want to hear. And whatever you tell me tells me something. So one of my favorite things, intervention, is the waiting game. I tell people, hey, so this is a challenge for the week. These 3 times this week, you're going to sit for 5 minutes and not do anything. What do you mean? You're going to set a timer, a stopwatch. I don't care. You're going to put it down. You're not even going to look at it. You're just going to sit and be quiet and just wait. Wait, what is I supposed to, like, what am I supposed to get from that? Nothing. You're just going to wait 5 minutes. And then they'll do it. And they'll be like, TJ, that was like the longest 5 minutes of my life. Like, I couldn't look at my phone. I couldn't be on here. I couldn't do this. My brain thoughts were going crazy. I was critical. Like, okay, you did it, right? And it sucked. Yeah, you're going to do it again. But this time, every time your brain tells you, hey, you need to go do this. You're not doing this. You should be doing this. You got to do this. All you're going to say is, I'm going to wait 5 minutes first. Your brain's going to tell you, hey, no, you got to get this done right now. You know this is important, that we're wasting time. I hear you. We're going to wait 5 minutes. What is that doing? That is helping you learn to counteract and challenge those thoughts. You're learning to say no to the anxiety, to say, no, I'm going to wait. Instead of responding quickly and your body wants to impulse. Because remember, no matter what your thoughts say, no matter what your emotions say, you always have control of your actions. So if you want to sit and wait 5 minutes as your brain is screaming you to tell you something, do it, because you always have that control. But then it's like, but TJ, it's so hard. It's like, over time though, repetition, you can challenge any thought. You need to do this. You're not doing this. Am I really? That 5 minutes of waiting and waiting, because you're gonna go from 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 minutes. But for the first 5 minutes, you're just practicing learning to be aware of your thoughts, what's in your body. Essentially, it's mindfulness without actually saying it's mindfulness. And people, because a lot of people, my clients don't like mindfulness, so I give them mindfulness without calling it mindfulness. Because all you're doing is just waiting, sitting with yourself, sitting with your thoughts, sitting in your body, and just noticing the things around you. People today are so fast-paced, fast food, get my stuff instant. We rather DoorDash anything than go to the grocery store, which is like 2 blocks away. I'm also like guilty of that. So look, we all are guilty of stuff. But the biggest thing is we're so fast-paced that we forgot how to be okay with boredom. We forgot what's it like to be bored. You know what's a funny thing? Boredom is where you get the biggest insights ever. When you're bored and have nothing to do, your brain starts to just wonder. It starts to think about life. It starts to reflect on the things you do. And you naturally get insights yourself. I love just sitting and staring out the window and just going like this. Next minute I know, oh my God, I should have thought about doing that. That's what I'm saying. The waiting game is helping you reconnect with yourself and learn to slow down. But you first got to wait 5 minutes.
Based on well said, by the way, well said. Based on all the knowledge you know, I wanted to know, like, about psychology, about sociology, about history. How do you feel that we are like growing? How are we going to advance with psychology, DSM-6, everything? What do you see for the future of psychology?
So it's interesting. When I look at America, and this is going to be a weird kind of like analogy, but you got to have to kind of stay with me here. You know the show Love is Blind?
I heard of it, definitely.
So Love is Blind is like, the reality show where people, talk to each other without seeing each other for the first time. There's different cultural versions of it. One in Brazil, one in Japan, and each version has a cultural difference to it. Like there's less drama, and it honestly is boring but nice and romantic in the Japanese version. The Middle Eastern version is unique to see the differences in like how they talk to each other, the wording they use. In America, therapy talk is very popular. Hey, these are my coping mechanisms I'm using. Hey, you're kind of gaslighting me right now. Pop psychology is becoming big. You're attacking my identity. You're doing this. Oh, these are just how I cope. These are my strategies in like mental health. Like mental health is becoming a part of our language. And so what I'm seeing is a growth in more interest in the psychology of how we work. I think psychology is becoming almost connected to philosophy and also spirituality. Who am I? How do I exist in this world? What is my mind? What is in my body? What is my spirit? These are interlaid in together. I mean, for a while, you see religion and philosophy going together. Now you're incorporating psychology into that. What does it mean to have a mind, to live in this world, to exist? For me, my approach, I combine all three. I take like you asked me, like, how do I bring in my culture? I look at Sikhism and also Eastern philosophies and look at what they do and how they work. The diverse differences of each culture gives me something to learn about. And it's what our differences are that helps me grow and understand the world in a better way. We hate our differences. Oh, you're different than me? I don't like you. I say, you're different than me? Tell me more about your differences. I am so fascinated because I don't think like you. I don't work like you. I want to know more. That's kind of, I see psychology kind of going, is that psychology is becoming more incorporated into more spirituality, more philosophy. It's going to get bigger because the mind is more important, but we are also becoming a lot more focused on the digital world. Human to human is slowly disappearing. The digital world becomes more important. That's why I love in-person sessions over video sessions. When I talk to my like telehealth clients, we're attuned. We're connected. We have a good relationship, but there's something missing.
True.
There's always something missing, and that is that you're in front of me versus over a screen. If I If my client cries, they're not crying to a person, they're crying to a screen, versus being in the office with me and feeling my presence there as well. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes. Yes.
That's how I would say
So
I different.
the AI connection, I get what you're saying. I 100% agree with your point of view. That's true. If you're on a camera, the camera is your physical contact to another person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I have a question for you based on everything you know. The AI connection is something that I'm thinking about possibly inventing, that psychologists or psychiatrists or even therapists. Therapists is just as important as psychiatrists. So back to the story, that they can analyze more with, they can be one. If they do it virtually, they can be one with the computer. And what I mean by that is, let's say you when you remember earlier when you were interviewing me, you can analyze me based on my behavior movements, based on what you know. But
Mm-hmm.
based on the whole picture, AI can probably help you and say, just start writing stuff like, yeah, she's doing this, she's doing that. Ask her that. You see what I'm saying? Or like
Yes,
a
and
team.
that's the thing, though. AI is to be a tool to help
Exactly.
us. The problem is, AI can also pretend to be relational. I can make you feel good. I can, as an AI, I could tell you what you want to hear. I can make you feel good about yourself and your actions. I can validate even your bad actions. That's the problem. One thing that I notice a lot of therapists is that surface level, let me validate you, let me make you feel good, even if you're doing something bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. You have to be called out. As much as I hate when my partner tells me about my like biases or the things I do that I don't realize, it's still good for me to learn. It breaks an illusion that I have. I didn't know I was doing that until someone told me. But if you tell an AI, hey, am I doing something? They most likely won't be honest with you because they're programmed to give you what they feel you need to hear, which is sometimes, hey, let me make you feel good. Let me tell you you're the special person in this world. Every time I use AI to talk about myself, it's like, TJ, you're the different one. You're the extraordinary one. You're the third different thing. It's like, that's an
How's
interesting
he
way.
how's he wrong or she wrong? You are different. You changing people's perspectives in life, one person and client at a time.
That's the thing is I'm not different though. I wish I was special and different. You have no idea how many people wish they got their Harry Potter letter, how they were told that they were this meant to be this great person. No, I'm not different. I'm human. I want to be loved and accepted. I want to feel special. I want to be a hero. And I also have to accept I am a hero of my own story, but I'm not the hero of the world. I'm the hero of my life. You are your hero, but you cannot say this world is meant for me and I'm the hero and no. I am like you. I'm human. I make mistakes. I have issues. I grow. I falter. I am human. And that's why when it tells me I'm different, I don't like that. I don't want to know that I'm different. I'm tired of being different because this society has told us being different is bad. And I say, you are unique. You are individual.
I'm
You
sorry.
are
My
fine.
phone went dead.
No, I hear you. You are unique, but you are not special. When I say that, this is very important. Your genetic, your environment, the things that shaped you make you unique. You are one of a kind. You are a rare breed in this world because no one thinks like you, sees like you, experience reality and life like you. But that's everybody. When you zoom out and look at the human species, you're special then. The human species is special because we are the only ones that we know that have this level of intelligence. We're the only ones in this entire universe that we know so far that created this. We have created civilizations. We have created things that can destroy a world. We are special. But as an individual, you're not special, but you are unique. And that's what I say.
Well said, well said. And how does discomfort within family what you can use an example from, like you were telling me off camera about a scenario with a client. Can you tell me about that scenario again?
A lot of my clients have to face uncomfortable truths. They have to face people in their lives that have really hurt them. And oftentimes that is really scary. I've had clients who, they've done the work. They've been really working on themselves. They've been in therapy for years, and they have this final, like, I think of it like a story where you got to face the dragon, the big final boss. For this client, their boss was their mom, a mom that didn't care, a mom that wasn't there for them, a mom that really hurt them. And she knew that she had to really tell her mom, not because of what her mom will say, but because she needs to let it out, put it into the room and say, Mom, this happened, and this is how that experience was for me. And when she had to face that, she decided, this is hard, TJ. I just didn't decide to do it. And because she didn't face that uncomfortability, a lot of her old symptoms started coming back. It's because we have to face the things to change. By facing that uncomfortability, saying the real feelings, and trying and showing her mom, hey, you have hurt me. You have really done these things to me. To let it out and say, this is my experience, would have been profound. But because she decided that's too challenging, that's too scary. And hey, I get it. It is. I'm not telling her she's done anything bad. However, there are consequences when you don't face things that are uncomfortable. You don't get to grow. You don't get to really heal. For her and for all my clients, I tell them, I know it's scary. Trust me. Every time I do things, I'm scared all the time about the uncertainty and the uncomfortability of my own emotions and the things I have to do. And I promise you one thing, though. Once you do it, it will end. That uncomfortability feeling, that uneasy feeling will come to an end, because feelings are temporary. You're not always going to stay angry forever. You're not going to stay uncomfortable forever. It will pass. And once it does, you can reflect and sit with yourself and saying, I did it. I faced the dragon and I overcame. And if I can do that, I can do anything. But until she does that, it's hard for her to believe that she can do anything. That's why I tell people, yes, family discomfort, having to face a mom, a dad, a family member that raised you or was there for you, but also has hurt you. It's difficult. It's going to be. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It will be difficult to face people. You still got to do it, though. I remember there was a friend I had. This was my friend for about 20 years. And he was like my brother. He was South Indian and I was North Indian. And we just had very similar lives. He was like my older brother. And he went through some really bad moments, and that kind of affected him and made him spiral into like alcoholism and abuse. And,
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, of course. Thank you. And I had to face him. It was challenging. I had to really call out his behavior. I didn't want to. To be honest, his mom wanted to pay me to spend time with him because of how bad he was doing. I wasn't his friend anymore. I was his therapist. And I was done. I had to break a 20-year friendship. And I faced the uncomfortable feelings. I hated every second of it. I complained to myself, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this as I'm getting out of the car. I don't want to do this. I don't want to, as my body is moving, because I still knew I had to. Because if I kept holding it in, if I kept lying to myself that this was okay for me to be around, I'm not practicing what I preach. So I faced it.
Like, looking back on it, do you feel like maybe you saw the signs of, him, developing alcoholism and, starting to do whatever he did to you? How did you grow? How did you change?
That I'm able to have tough conversations. That at the end of the day, I still did it. And if I can do that, someone who's been my brother for 20 years and break a friendship because I just can't be around that anymore, I can face anything in my path. I have had tough conversations with so many people. One of the hardest things for me as a therapist has been termination. Telling a client, I am not the right fit for you. Telling a client, I can't do it. Not because I don't want to, but because the level of need requires so many other things that one person can't do it. It scares me to get rejected. It scares me when someone tells me, I don't want to work with you. I never want to hear that. I want to avoid that. The biggest thing I had to learn is the uncomfortability of valuing myself. One reason I would give people different price range. I was like, I'll do it for 100. I'll do it for 120. I will do it for 50 because I just wanted to be your therapist. I wanted to be accepted. I want you to value me because I didn't value myself. You know how I went through my bachelor's degree and got my bachelor's from Humboldt State. I went to a 2-year master's program where every year I was told, TJ, are you sure this is the right field for you? I have broken down so many times in that master's program, and I got my master's degree. I looked at it once and I put it away. I said, what's next? I never took time to say, I did it. I accomplished it because my upbringing, my life has told me I have to survive, that it's always about what's next. I never took time to slow down and say, look at me, I did it. I should be proud of myself, but I never was. And when I finally became in my private practice, every therapist would tell me, you don't value yourself. You should be, you look at your experience. I went through crisis work, psychosis work, psych facilities, forensics, mental health.
Forensics, yeah, right. Yeah, that is big.
I faced supervisors who were so insecure about themselves that they try to put power over others. I have seen the worst of humanity and the best of humanity. And still I'm saying, I don't value myself. I had to really look at myself and look at who I am as a person and say, what does this say about me? Why can't I be proud of myself? Because I thought that was what I grew up with. You're never proud of yourself. Because I wanted the people that were supposed to give me that never made me feel like I was enough. So I've been chasing that desire to be enough. When really, I've been enough this entire time. But it was a lie that had been told to me that I have to be enough. When really, the moment I came into this world, I was enough. So I started valuing myself. Hey, TJ, can you do therapy for 100? Sorry, my prices are 200. I value myself at this point, and I'm not going to change my mind. I'm a business owner and I'm a therapist. I have compassion, I have caring, and this is my value. And I'm not going to change it for anybody. So even now, if you look at it, I even got my degrees up. And that used to never be there. And that's what I would say.
How you feel, man? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself and say to yourself, I did this shit. I did this myself. Even when I was breaking down, I did it. I did it. I have a master's. Like my professor said, he said, to have a master's, that's not lightly taken. A master's is more important than a doctorate.
It's funny. I mean, if you asked me a year ago, I'd be like, oh yeah, I got a master's, whatever, I don't care. But it was until those moments where I had to really look at myself and really start to value, I thought I reflected on those 2 years of my life. The struggles, the trials, being the black sheep of my own cohort members. I thought I was going to get kicked out of my master's program. I thought I was hated in my master's program. Every client, my very first client, I remember this. I meet this person for the first time, and 4 or 5 hours later, hey TJ, I want to end therapy. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to have another session? No, I just don't want to work with you. Very first client. I broke down and cried. But guess what I did? After I cried, after I felt, I got up and said, I got to keep working harder to figure out what I need to change, what I need to grow in. And I did. My weakest area was suicide assessments. It was like my supervisor of the program took a client away from me because I wasn't doing the assessment right. And I hated that. But now I can teach suicide assessments. I've been doing crisis work and I've learned understanding how suicide works, how homicide works, what signs to look for, how to teach it. Because if it's my weakest area and then it's the area I want to grow the most. That's the thing. I never want to stop growing. I don't want to be perfect. I want to be imperfect so I can keep growing and growing because at the end of the day, we're all works in progress until the day we die.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm I'm in my second master's program and it's like so tough and I can relate to how you feel right now, bro. So yeah, right now, I feel like I delayed me speaking to my classmates, but now that I spoke to them, I feel a little better, and I moved on. And now, am I fearful that they may not write me? Yes. Am I fearful they may not like me? Yes. But can I stop that? I did my part. I like you said we should do.
Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
No, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
it's never as bad as you think it's gonna be because your brain, again, it's focused on danger and keeping you safe. So it's gonna send you a bunch of stuff to make you go, hey, this could happen, this could happen. You need to be aware of this, this, and this. It's never as scary as what we tell ourselves. We are sometimes the biggest boogeyman we have. And that's okay. And one thing I always want everybody to know, and this is my biggest piece, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to accept that you're not okay. You're human. It's impossible to be okay forever. So take a step back, sit with yourself, and say, you know what? I'm not okay. And I'm okay with that. But I will get there one day. And you will. I at least promise you that.
How do you come up with ideas to like rebuild your what because for instance I'll tell you my SWOT, my strengths. I have the Kimberly Cloud Show. I am running politics. I won't get into detail. I'm not trying to brag about myself, but I'll tell you my threats. My threats is something being taken away from me that's out of my control, through someone or something. Um, Opportunities are that the Kimberly Cloud is growing, show is growing, and I am doing everything in my power to keep it that way by promoting it. And the weaknesses is that sometimes due to my mental health, even though I have much more to say, I I lack how can I say this? I just overreact. And sometimes it's like a hit or miss. I don't know the accuracy, but that's life,
Yep,
right?
that's life. And here's the thing, Kimberly, even speaking to you now, are you okay if I provide some strengths I see?
Go ahead.
So you have faced mental health, like you said, that's persistence, that's resilience. You are still doing a podcast. For me, doing this is scary. I don't know who my next interviewer is going to be. I have no idea who the person I'm going to talk to, but you still do it. You face uncertainty of the next person you're going to talk to. That's strength. That's courage. It can be scary to do this. You don't know what people are going to watch. You know what people are going to say, but you still do it. So you have courage. You have resilience. You persevere even though you don't know what the next day might bring. That's really three strengths. And something tells me you have a lot more that I haven't named just yet. And that's what I'm saying. My biggest thing is I see the strengths in people by the fact that they came to therapy. TJ, I don't know if I can change. You came to therapy. That's already telling me that you have the strength to do it. That's what I'm saying. Remember, you have more strengths and more power that you don't even realize. And I already see it because that's what I do.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Why do you think that people, I think, do you think that everyone should have a therapist like you or just a therapist in general, especially being family or friends? Do you think friends should have therapy sessions? Because I think it should happen. What are your thoughts?
Here's the thing. One thing that really helps me is that I'm objective. I don't live in my clients' worlds. I never visit them. I don't text them unless it's about therapy. I keep myself separate. If my I tell my clients every time I meet them, if you see me in person in like regular life and stuff and like walking down the street, that's not me. That's a different version of me. That person is not your therapist. And if you try to say hi to me, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna run away the other side because confidentiality. I don't want anyone to know that we are connected because I want you to feel safe enough to come to me and hold your secrets. Do I think that everybody should have a therapist? I think everybody should try therapy, give it a chance. I think you can get benefits, but it also depends on the type of therapist you want. Do you want like skill building? Do you want insights? Do you want depth core work? What are you looking for? And what type of style? That therapist got to vibe with you. If they don't vibe, it ain't gonna work. Like I am very casual in my approach. I literally go in, hey guys, I'm TJ. I'm the therapist. Welcome to therapy. So what's your deal? Like I'm very casual in my approach because I want them to feel comfortable that you're just talking to another person. I'm not gonna walk in and be like, hi, welcome to therapy. I'm a therapist. Let's talk about tell me your presenting problem. Like that's too professional. That's too structured. People are gonna open up. Find the person that you can open up to. Can friends be therapists? No, no. I've learned the hard way. No, because therapists have rules and boundaries. It's a relationship that teaches you on how to learn about boundaries. Mike, I have people that don't do good with boundaries. Hey TJ, can I text you? No, you can't not text me after 10 p.m. on the weekend. My days are Sunday. I'm off Sundays and Mondays. Oh, but TJ, I couldn't make it to the session. Can you? No, I'm going to still charge you. Welcome to boundaries. Welcome to adult friendships. This is not child friendships. Does that kind of make sense? Like friends have biases. They have their own views. They're not trained in this. This is my world. I live therapy. I'm like, for me, I can objectively disconnect from my work and my clients. They are not my friends. They're human, but they're my clients. I do not see them anything else but clients. If you pay me for something, if you pay me for therapy, you are nothing more than a client to me. I wish we could be friends. I would love some of my clients to be my friends, but no, you're my client. You pay me to help you because I'm not sharing anything about myself. Get a therapist. Your friend cannot be your therapist. I'm sorry, it'd be nice, but no, trust me, it doesn't work out really well. Breaks friendships, actually.
Well said, but what I was trying to say was friendship therapy where they two
Um,
people, yeah, sorry, my apologies. But that's a good theory. That's a good theory.
I say, here's the thing. A lot of my clients would say that I bring this friendly, like friend pseudo relationship. I am gonna be like a friend, but I'm also understanding I am not your friend, but I will bring that friend relationship. You're gonna talk to me. We're gonna talk about interests and hobbies, and you're gonna learn about me. I'm gonna learn about you. It's rapport building. I want the inside and outside of you to trust me. I want all of you. So when I go into the deeper stuff, you're not gonna fight me on it as much because you know I'm doing it for your best interest. It's having a friendship like can be good, but I'll give you an example. I have a client whose previous therapist, they were too friendly. They were more like friends versus therapist. When it's too friendly, you don't go any deeper. They're not willing to challenge you. They want you to like them. You're paying me to help you grow. I don't care about you liking me. I care about getting you to where you want to be. So I'm going to give you that friend feeling, but I'm also going to be that therapist too. It's learning to balance both, to be that friend, but also remember you're a therapist. Friends don't pay people for friendships unless in different countries.
Well said. Out of all the psychiatrists that you learned about, the older psychiatrists, who was more interesting to you, and how do you, if you learned enough about them, what were their history for discomfort levels? And yeah, I'll leave it that. What was their discomfort level? If you had a synopsis or some type of bio for them, learning why you learned about them.
I would say Carl Jung. Carl Jung is the individual who got really into like Freud, but also created Jungian psychology or archetypal psychology, which is all about universal archetypes and like synchronicity. That dude was interesting because during the last years of his life, I think he went through like psychosis or something and went through this whole deep insight about himself. He really helps us understand the unconscious piece. There are things we do and we don't know why we do them. There's like the idea of dreams. There's symbolism in dreams. There's meanings in things that we don't realize. Humans, think about this. The universe, in my eyes, and this is just my perspective, we live in a world, a universe that has no meaning, but the one that we give it. We are the ones that put meaning into this world. We are the ones that say, this has meaning to me. For him, it's like looking at meaning, looking at the unconscious, saying, what are we not understanding about ourselves? And we learn there's deeper layers to us that we don't even realize, and that fascinates me. I love Carl Jung's understanding of the human mind, but also Albert Camus' understanding of philosophy of the human experience, absurdism. Life is absurd. We are on a speck of dirt orbiting a ball of fire in an area. There's this thing called a platypus, which is like a half beaver that has like a duck beak. It makes no sense. It's absurd. But that's beauty in it. The absurdity is beautiful. Things don't make sense. Why can't we just enjoy them before they get kind of crazier? That's what I'm saying. I love the unconscious piece. I love the absurdism piece. I love talk therapy because talking to someone, you learn their stories. You learn about who they are. Every single client, there may be patterns, but each one is unique in their story, experiences, and subjective understandings. And I get to connect with all of them, and they all impact me and live in me. And I cherish them so deeply. That's what I was saying.
Okay. And, based on everything you know about, well said, by the way, based on everything you know about, the like memories, how we have negative memories, like some to a degree. It depends on who you are. You got some heightened mental health people that say that they hear thoughts about harming. You got some mental health people that just hear you're not nothing, you're never going to be nothing. You just got these suppressing memories, like you said Carl Jung did, like the universe, like it's so much we don't know about the universe. So, you know how do you feel about what I just said?
Memories are interesting because one thing I've learned about myself is sometimes the things I remember aren't the way they happened. Does that kind of make sense? When I was a kid, I thought in India a bug flew into my ears, and a doctor in India was coming to like fix my ears, and then got in a car accident or something. I thought that happened to me until later. I went and talked to my sister, like I think a month ago. She told me, "No, what are you talking about? That didn't happen to you. That happened to me." I was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" "Yeah, that happened to me. That didn't happen to you." But my memory was it happening to me. You can trust your emotions, you can trust different things, but memories are harder because it's from your subjective experience. The memory is created from your experience, not the objective thing that actually happened. And so for me, you have to really be willing to look at your memories and be curious about, did this really happen the way it happened, or was this my experience of it, and that's how I'm remembering it? Everything, those things are valid. You are experiencing them. Those memories are there, but you also want to be curious about what could happen. And we have repressed memories that are kept down because the trauma was so severe that your brain said, let's not remember this piece right here. Let's kind of keep it hidden and locked away. But when you, in my therapy, when you start connecting dots, you start connecting things that have happened, old memories start to come up. I have a client who's been doing a lot more like trauma work, reflective work. They have started to remember things from their experience as children. TJ, I forgot to tell you, I remember that my dad left me alone with this lady, and I can't believe I forgot about that time. because memories are also tied to your emotions. It's the emotional experience that connects to those memories. So you have to be curious about your memories. Don't distrust them, but be curious. Did this really happen, or is this my experience of it because I was very emotional at that time? Don't see it as a bad thing, but see it as being curious and empathetic towards yourself and what you remember. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. Okay, how about hidden memories with spirituality? Like psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, social workers, they all, are on a certain spectrum and they study memories and everything. And I just, you know, we're a spirit and we're like trigger memories, whether good or bad, emotions. They triggered, like if I'm mad and I'm telling on someone or talking about someone, I'll just start talking about everything about that person that was affected with my memories and that what I remembered. But hidden memories like you said that get suppressed, that you don't remember or you can't recall unless something like an emotion come up. How do you feel like spirituality? You know a lot. So how did the psychiatrist you learned about bear like way outweighed spirituality and her hidden memories? What did actually Carl say while he was in psychosis during that time that may could be a key to future things?
So I'm going to say this. I cannot talk about Carl Jung and how he saw things because I'm not him. Also, like, I don't want to speak for someone that I don't get something wrong. I will speak about how I seen it from both my understanding of archetypal psychology, but also what I've read and learned. So when you look at spirituality and memories, spirituality is, again, I'm going to go back to subjective. It's your own personal experience. People say, I have a personal relationship with God. I have a personal experience or a out of body experience where I met God, met Jesus, met Buddha, whatever. That's your personal experience. It happened to you. That's valid. But if you try to share it and give it to somebody else to say, hey, this happens, you could, it's not going to be the same. When it comes to memories, how you remember, like, let me ask you this: when you look at memories and spirituality, what are you trying to like look at? What's the lens here?
Within the spirit, different past lives, different possible future lives, memories suppressed until you get a host body, and then, or possible technology
Mhm.
pushing, do you get what I don't want to say the whole sentence, but do you get
No,
what I'm saying? Spirituality, hidden memories where, maybe like next life. Think
yeah,
about this. Next life, you may be the same spirit but have a new set of memories for the future. We don't know. So where do these memories, based on all your knowledge, where do you think these memories come from, and how does spirituality can play a part? Because it's a lot of people out here. You got young adults, older adults that they get these negative thoughts, and I keep asking myself, even I get negative thoughts like you're fat, you're ugly. And I say to myself, well, where is it coming from? I know it's not in my spirit. Is it an interception of some sort?
oh, I can.
Hijacking a,
Oh,
you see?
yeah, I can. Here's the thing. I have a client who, and honestly, there's a lot of clients, so I'm just generalizing. I'm not saying it's one specific client. A lot of my clients have a negative, deep, critical voice that pushes them to be perfect, pushes them to, shames them into doing and feeling bad about themselves. Those that voice is implanted since you were a kid. That becomes a voice for you. It becomes a caregiver or someone in your life that was profoundly stuck in your head. People say like hearing your therapist's voice in your head, like when you're doing something and you remember your therapist said something like that, it becomes kind of like, oh, I remember this. When you have a negative caregiver, someone that really hurt you, someone that criticized you over and over, you start remembering their voice in your head. It becomes almost like your voice. So you become self-critical towards yourself. And the spirituality piece is that it distorts a lot of the spirit you have. So I'll give you an example. I have a client who has a spirit of competition. And when I say the spirit of competition, the enjoyment of just competing for fun, building connections through competition. Some of his best friends were made through competition. However, he has complex trauma. And that complex trauma held this belief that he needed to be perfect, to be the best. So what did he do? Instead of competing for the fun of it, for the enjoyment of it, I need to be the best. I need to beat everybody. It distorted and twisted that spirit into focusing on, I need to chase perfection and being the best instead of enjoying competition for what it is, just for the fun of it, to make connections and fun and be around others. I have someone who has the spirit of curiosity, someone that enjoys learning and discovering things, but their trauma told them, I need to be safe. I need to know everything to be safe now. It twists. That's what happens to a spirit inside of ourselves when trauma gets involved. It twists the things about us that makes us us. I wanted to be, a good therapist. I want to be able to help people, but my trauma told me I needed to be the best therapist, that I need to be the special therapist. So therapy stopped becoming about my client and started becoming about this savior mentality instead, because that's what my trauma did. It twisted my understanding of this, spirit I had. When we have difficult, painful moments, it twists and distorts the potential of what we could be. And that's why healing and going to therapy is important. It allows you to re-examine and re-look and heal that spirit in us to rediscover.
What is a new theory or challenge that you think that you would what would be a new psychological measure if you had to guess anything
I am
that
actually creating something like that.
I knew it. Tell me. Let us know the scoop. The scoop.
So
TJ.
this is a new, it's still a work in progress. I just
I'm
have
not going to
something.
write it down.
Okay, good. No, this makes a psychological soul therapy. It's called psychological soul therapy because it focuses on duality. We have this survival self, this protective self that was created because the world became a scary place as children. And then we have what I call, and remember, these two sides aren't good or bad. I just gave them those names. The survival protective self and the soul authentic self, who we could have been, the part of ourselves we buried inside. To give you kind of a metaphor for this, do you know the story of Cain and Abel?
A little bit. Explain it just again for those who don't know.
I look at the story of Cain and Abel not through a religious understanding, but through a psychological, more. You have Abel and you have Cain. Abel is like the favorited son. His livestock, he's this authentic, person. He makes everybody happy. He's this good person. And Cain, he grows, the vegetables. He's always worried about it. He gets jealous easily. He's the imperfect child. And eventually they have to give an offering to God. Abel brings the best of his flock, as much as he can give, and really show how good he is. Cain decided to bring what he felt was safe. He is like, oh, this is safe to give, but it's not the best I have, but this is safer. Maybe this will get accepted. Well, Cain got rejected, and that rejection scared him. He was worried he was not going to survive, that he won't get that love he needed, that attention he needed. But he knows Abel will. So he kills Abel to keep himself alive, out of jealousy, out of survival. And that's what we do to our own selves. We bury our true authentic self to survive in this world. I can't be my real self. I have to be the mask. I can't be my real self. I have to be the survival self. It becomes this inner conflict within us of who we want to be and who we value, our beliefs, the meanings, the narrative, what we want for ourselves, and what is acceptable in society. Oh, I've been told I can't be this person. I'm a weird, interesting human. I love existentialism. I love philosophy. I love weird things. But I've been told that's not good. I've been told to hide that part of myself, to be more what other people are comfortable with. Nah, I don't do that anymore. That's not me. I'm going to be me because I have learned to accept the part of myself I buried to survive, because I have to. We have to be willing to look at these two. The survival self isn't bad. It's not anything bad. It's what we construct to survive, to be and live in this world. But we also have to accept the soul part of ourselves, the part that we hide because it wasn't safe enough to be this person. We have to blend them together, integration between these two sides, and say, I can be both. The survival me has some good stuff. The soul me has some good stuff. I need to become the harmonious self, harmony within ourselves. I love this. This is the thing I used to tell my clients. There's a show I really love, Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's like you're the avatar. You're gonna bring balance to your world. And you have to, because there's sides fighting inside of you, but you're the one that's gonna build the balance because you are the only one capable. You're gonna bring harmony to yourself by helping you. So my framework is based on building a harmonious inner self that you can be happy with. It takes work because I'm gonna really challenge. We're gonna look at different things. So that's kind of what I'm putting together. Not perfect, not done yet. Don't expect it out anytime soon.
I can't wait for it. I'll wait. I'll be an old lady like, oh, that's CJ.
Yeah.
You took it way back to Larry Swartz, like the
Yeah.
Avatar. That you actually used to watch that?
Yeah, I love cartoons. I use a lot of pop culture and cartoon stuff in my therapy. That's why kids love me. I collect Pokemon cards. I actually buy like a bunch of Pokemon cards, and when I have kids, I was like, "Hey, man, you beat me in this game. We'll open a Pokemon pack together." It's helped build rapport.
That's a really good gift, man. Like, what did you analyze? I want to know how you analyzed that. If you watched the whole series, all the series, what did you come about? What was your theory about Ung or Aang, as a
It's
child?
it's interesting. Imagine if you are 12 years old. At the age of 12, you're told, hey, you're going to save the world. You're supposed to be this avatar. You're going to do a lot of great things. And now your whole life, you got to go over here and go over here, and you're never going to be in one place. You're 12 years old and you're told all this. It's scary. That's a child that got scared and ran away. It makes sense. When I look at a child, he did a thing that a child would do because he was scared. But he was also started his hero's journey. In a way, Aang was meant to end up in the ice. In a way, he was meant to find Katara and Sokka. In a way, the things that happened maybe were meant to happen in a way for this resolution to come. One thing I really prize Aang on was always trying to find an alternative towards killing. No matter what, he kept looking that violence doesn't have to be the answer. And he's right. It doesn't. You can look at other alternatives, but remember, sometimes the alternatives can be as sucky as the other ones. So he decided, instead of killing Ozai, he decided to take his bending away, which is actually very more personal, especially in the Avatar world. So for him, Aang's journey taught him that there are other ways of dealing with pain, and that we have to go through those struggles. We talk about uncomfortability. He had to face some of the most uncomfortable things, and he still did it. His own self, the death of the people he loved, the world that he lives in, his own responsibilities as an avatar. It's all of us. We have to face ourselves, no matter how uncomfortable it is. We have to look in the mirror and see every single part, even the ones that are the hardest to look at. And that's what it means to grow and transform. Looking in the mirror and seeing all of you, even the ones you bury. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I appreciate you saying that. Those words, man. How do you feel like for the future? Like, when is the time frame? You said no time soon. Basically, NTS. You NTS us with
Yeah.
your stuff,
I mean,
with your
in a way,
theories. Like,
to be honest with you, I already kind of do my like framework, but it's more integrative. I take components of different therapies. There's this, I remember when I was, a lot of the way I am is because of the things I did, the things I experienced, lived, and knowledge I've gained. There was an app where you could call alchemy, where you could combine different elements to make different elements, and then combine those elements to create different elements. Literally, that's what I did. If you look at Einstein's theories of like general relativity and special relativity, what did Einstein really do? He connected dots and said, actually, if you connect these theories and these theories, you figure out that these all connect to this. So I kind of did that with modalities. Hey, CBT has this really good stuff, but this stuff doesn't really work. Oh, narrative therapy has this really good stuff, but this doesn't work. But if I combine this with this and you add this here, you can combine an integrative thing. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make something that felt me. Does that kind of make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to be, in a way, authoring something that felt who I am to my authentic self. So I developed something called psychological soul therapy, which isn't like I'm going to work on your soul, but it's getting to the core beliefs, the core wounds of what hurts, but also looking at your life purpose and meaning and what do you want it to be. Here, I'm going to give you your pen back to your story and say, what are you going to write? Now your turn. And so it's to help people feel connected to their authentic selves. It's challenging, it's hard, it's intense, it's transformative.
I used to play alchemy. I played the old school game. I think it was gold, part dark gold, and the red, blue. I don't know how I found that game, dude.
There's
Yeah.
a, it's funny because it was, to be honest with you, a lot of the ways I see the world and think is because of me being a kid. My child self put messages and meanings into things I did. When I play with Legos, that there's meaning to it. I'm building something. It tells me something about myself that I like to create. That putting things together and seeing the end product makes me happy. Also teaches me, is it about the journey or the destination? What do I want to enjoy more? People argue over, is it about the journey or is it about the destination? I say, depends on the situation. Sometimes when I play Lego, when I build Legos, I like the journey and I like just building. Sometimes I want to get to the destination. Like when I built that Lego cat, that took me like 3 weeks.
That's a
Like,
Lego cat. Let
yeah,
me see. Let me see. Oh, that's so cute.
it's
Oh
like
my
it's,
God. Yes.
I got it off of base of my own cat because he's a black and white cat, and so I wanted to do that. And so that's why I tell people a lot of times the best part wasn't finishing the Lego cat. It was the journey of taking time and going slow and making mistakes and doing it again. That cat had to be disassembled 3 times before I had to finally get to the right way of putting it together. And I loved and hated every second of it.
You coded a cat. Oh my God. That is so cool. So, what are you doing for the future with everything? Everything. Like what I don't want to know just about your future, but like what you were just talking about, because I hope you get it trademarked and provisional patent. But where is your body going to land 20 years from now? Would you make a time capsule, and how do you feel that discomfort eases its way into the situation, and how you going to build your business plan, businessman?
If you asked me this question 3 months ago, I probably would have a different answer. To be honest with you, while I do have plans for my future on what I want, I stopped trying to focus on the future. I have ideas, I have things I want to do,
I
but
get
I'm
it.
not in any rush anymore. I'm tired of trying to chase something that's never going to give me that inner feeling I want because things externally will not heal what's internal. Getting this achievement, becoming this kind of person, being this, no. So I decided I'm tired. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to enjoy this moments while I have it because I never know when they're going to end. We're in the good times. We always say we want to know when we're in the good times before they end. I want to live now, not dream always be dreaming about the future, always be chasing the future. So do I have some plans? Yeah, I want to open up a nonprofit. I want to one day, train therapists in a new style of therapy. I want to do things, but I'm not in any rush. I'm gonna after this, I'm going to go chill with my partner and spend time playing games with her. I'm going to hang out with my cats. I'm going to read some books. I'm going to play video games. I don't know. I'm just going to enjoy today because today is temporary. I will never get it back.
Do you think by 8:14 you can feel like you've accomplished for an hour and 30 minutes some type of knowledge and wisdom that you dropped on my audience?
I had someone ask me why I'm doing this podcast. Like, why do I keep coming back? Am I trying to teach people something? Am I trying to provide something? Sometimes it's just simple that, hey, I like doing this. This is fun for me. That's it. There doesn't have to be sometimes a bigger meaning to things. If I enjoy something, why do I have to put bigger meaning into everything? Why does it have to have this profound importance to it? When I do this podcast, I do it because I enjoy it. I want to do it. All of me wants to do it. If I'm trying, like, if someone gets something out of it, that's great. I love that. But that's not why, because if I focus on the external until what it gives me internally, then I'm not really helping myself. I'm not really taking care of myself. So my message to everyone, if there's anything, is when you do something, the first question you should be is, do you enjoy it? Do you have fun with it? I created this story when I was working with kids, the farmer and the fisherman. You have two types of people. You have the farmer who's always heads down, looking at the soil, toiling away, wondering about bills, things he has to worry about, things that have to get done. He's concerned about the future always. Then you have the fisherman. Same worries, same troubles, but he doesn't know if he's going to catch a lot of fish, little fish, or what's going to happen. But he sits, enjoys, looks up at the sun, at the sky, and smiles. Because at the end of the day, he's going to ask himself the same question. Not how many fish I caught or how well I did I enjoy fishing. That's it. Every time I finish my therapy day, every time after every session, I go, did I enjoy therapy today? Most of the time, yeah. There's sometimes I am not always the best. I'm not perfect. But most days I can say with a smile, I'm happy I got to see all my clients.
Is there any TJ time?
Yeah, after this.
I mean, no, not now. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about, do you find time to have like your own time alone to speak to God?
I have a very complicated relationship with the universe. I grew up in trauma and violence and pain, and I never wanted to like exist. I got mad that someone made that decision for me. And over my life, it became like, I'm just waiting for this to be over. I'm just like on a waiting period, like, is this done yet?
Is that me?
No. I'm saying in life, when I was growing up, after growing up in like trauma, it's like, I just wanted life to be over. Not like I was going to hurt myself, but more like, I'm just waiting. I'm not going to do anything. It was like I was a ghost just fading through life, waiting to disappear. But one day, I was like, this isn't making me freaking happy. I don't feel better that I'm just waiting for the end. I want to do something. If I'm stuck in this world, if I have to live this world, then I'm going to make a world that I want to enjoy. If I have to deal with society, with people, then I'm going to find a way to enjoy it instead of be resentful, be angry. This is my last story. I have a client who started this journey. He's very similar to me in different ways. He's dealing with complex trauma, detachment, emotional pains. And, we've been working together for a few months, and he's starting to change. He's starting to get better. He's starting to really reflect. It's amazing. And he comes back and tells me, I have stage 4 cancer. He got a type of cancer that is not common for his type of people. And, he held so much resentment, so much anger towards the world that I felt. I felt so similar. And he's like, TJ, after hearing that and letting my family know, he used to he never had the best opinion of his wife. He comes back after that, His wife has been the biggest support he's ever had, the biggest love he's ever felt. But because he lived in so much resentment and anger and like just vent angst, he only saw the world in negativity. He saw his problems and others as negative and bad. But once you have to face your mortality, it was pointless to stay angry. The dad that he hated, that was mad, gave him a hug of love and held that hug. And as someone who has my own issues with my father, I mean, I straight up cried in that session with him. I felt that feeling of having that hug, that and really sitting with yourself going, why was I so angry? Why was I so bitter? What did this all do for me? I could die in 6 months. I know where my life ends. Like that's what he was telling me. Like he could, the cancer and everything, you're still sort of trying to find treatments and stuff. But they could tell him you'll die in 3 months. You could die in 6 months. You could die in a month. To know that your death could be so close makes you reflect and look at the way you lived your life. And he said, I lived with anger, resentment, and just pain. And I kept holding on to it because I thought it gave me life. It gave me purpose. Until I only realized it was pointless. The things I needed, the things I wanted were all around me, but I was so angry, so bitter, so living in resentment and just hating the world and the trauma that it's given me. But the love, the connection was always all around me, and I just refused to see it. Now, we're working on self-forgiveness, to letting go of that guilt and learning to be okay of being human and making mistakes, to learning to forgive himself. When you face your own self, when you face your own mortality, it makes you really re-examine the things you believe are needed in your life. The things, the anger, the resentment, the guilt, the feeling, the negative feelings. You tell yourself, I need this feeling. This makes me alive. No. The people around you, the world around you has always been enough. You have always been enough. So stop telling yourself you aren't. I'll be the first person to tell you, you've been enough your whole life. Since you were born, you were enough. That the love you deserve, you should have gotten as a child. And I'm so sorry you never gotten that. You deserve to. So stop telling yourself you don't. I'm telling you, as a child of trauma, as a therapist, as a human, you are a miracle every single day when you wake up.
Wow. You know what? God bless him and God bless you. How can the people reach you if they wanted a therapy session? You know, how can they call you? How can they reach you, CJ?
I am licensed in California. My number is 916-229-8868, which is interesting. If you look at my last 4 digits of my number, 8868, the 6 looks like a broken 8 because I break patterns. The 8's a pattern. Yeah, I know. It's like, I did a whole like metaphor. It was funny.
That's only a nerd joke.
Yeah, it made me laugh.
Yeah, hold on. Do you have anything else you want to say before we end? Even if you don't, it's okay.
I promise you this, and I don't guarantee anything in this world, but I will promise you this. When you sit and face uncomfortability, you're going to end up saying to me, it wasn't that bad after all. So if you know it's not going to be that bad after all, go face what scares you. You'll be surprised how much you grow.
Well said, and thank you so much for future shows that is going to really help people grow. So stay on the line, TJ. Thank you guys for joining my show today or tonight. Y'all have a wonderful night. I'll be back on here later. Thank you.